It was the summit of Toledo's industrial might, the gilded age of our 20th century glory. Edward Drummond Libby had pioneered continuous flow sheet glass. Michael J. Owens had developed a glass bottle machine. Cars were rolling off a North Toledo assembly line where Jeeps would soon be cranked out by the millions. It was 1912. Willys, Ford, Owens, Libby, Stranahan, Doler, and DeVilbiss were household names. Toledo Rotary was founded that year, and Toledo Rotarians would establish a legacy of our own.
The growth of Toledo and the growth of this club would never be separated, as Toledo Rotarians would always play a major role in the leadership and development of this great city of Toledo.
And as we seek our transformational impact projects of Century 21, our 20th century living legacies deserve mention.
The overall purpose and mission, I can say Rotary was far-reaching under the leadership of Charles Fieldbach, who was the board president of Toledo Public Schools at the time, at the same time a Rotarian, and truly putting the community before self and recognizing that special needs students needed to get an education just as anyone else.
It started with a boy named Alva Bunker, born in 1901 without legs and hands. His story was brought to the fledgling Toledo Rotary, and in 1916, they sent him to Detroit for specialized corrective surgery because no such facility was available here in Toledo. This would change. Shortly after, Emma Roberts and the District Nurse Association called upon Rotary President Charles Fieldbach for help in starting a school for disabled children. Remember, he was the school board president. Together with Superintendent William Gateau and Nurse Roberts, Fieldbach would establish the Crippled Children's School. Following his death in 1924, it was renamed the Charles Fieldbach School.
And this boy, who did not know how to smile, who could hardly talk, came back to Rotary 3 years later and walked into the Rotary Club and climbed the steps to the podium and thanked the Rotarians for what they had done for him. And it brings a tear to my eye to this day when I tell that story.
Alva Bunker did all right for himself. He finished school and became the assistant superintendent of a school for children with disabilities in Port Huron. The rest is living history. As the future Glendale Fieldbach Elementary School was taking shape, another Toledo Rotary initiative was underway, and its legacy also lives to this day.
Well, what I say is that we change lives every day.
Elyria, Ohio businessman Edgar Allen lost his son to a streetcar accident in 1907, all because there was just no hospital nearby. He devoted himself to building one, and within a year, Elyria Memorial Hospital would open. As hospital treasurer, Allen walked the halls every day. Befriending a boy with polio, he became curious and discovered that over 200 children in Lorain County were disabled and receiving no care. He went on to fundraise and build the Gates Hospital, which specialized in caring for the disabled children of Lorain County. It opened in 1915, adjacent to Elyria Hospital. Edgar Allen started Elyria Rotary in 1918, and he took his cause statewide. By this time, Toledo's club president Fieldbach was passionately committed to the fight for disabled children. At a 1919 meeting of Rotaries, several clubs came together to form the Ohio Society for Crippled Children. The Toledo Society for Crippled Children was established as a member in 1920. Needs change over time, and so did the Society's mission, eventually becoming a kindergarten for children with disabilities, operating in Toledo's Old West End.
Yep, on the first floor of the Libby Mansion. I went to one of the first classes to be offered preschool at that building. And then the kids that graduated from there went on to Fieldbach School.
In 1974, the Society refined its mission to the charitable care of crippled or otherwise physically handicapped children and adults. They renamed themselves the Toledo Society for the Handicapped. In 1989, it was renamed the Ability Center of Greater Toledo.
Rotary has been part of the Ability Center since our inception. So whether it's putting a student through a curriculum where they have higher hopes for what they can do as adults, or whether it's moving someone out of a nursing home, we try to offer really high impact services.
Which brings us to our second century of service above self. On May 3rd, 2012, 100 years since our inception, the Rotary Club of Toledo presented our single largest contribution in club history to Metro Parks Toledo, benefiting the construction of Middle Grounds Metro Park. The search for our first transformative project of the 21st century was rigorous.
The first criteria that was developed, it had to meet an unmet need in the community. It had to serve that unmet need. It had to be sustainable beyond our centennial year. It had to improve the quality of life for all the citizens of Northwest Ohio. And then it needed to leverage the resources and the talents of the Rotary Club of Toledo.
Metro Parks Toledo was the perfect partner, and the first downtown Metro Park was the perfect transformative project to celebrate our first century of service. If the story of human progress is captured by the sheer perseverance of mankind, Rotary International, its regions and local chapters, need an entire volume. Toledo Rotary's next transformational project will fill another chapter or two, but the first one was written for disabled children, spoken for by one boy, with no legs, no hands, but one indomitable spirit.
And that single movement for this young man became the main thrust of every Rotary Club in the world, of which there's some 32,000 to this day. Their main thrust was to serve the handicapped, particularly children. And it all started with one crippled boy here in Toledo. I think that's just incredible.